Hello, I'm Maury Reese. About 6 years ago, I started making YouTube videos teaching people how to use the Tyros 5 keyboard from Yamaha. And over the last 6 years, I put up 16 tutorial training videos. And about 125,000 people worldwide have watched them and left some nice comments, and I appreciate that. One of the problems with this fabulous keyboard is it cost a lot of money. This Tyros Yamaha keyboard cost $6,000. Yeah. This is my newest keyboard. This is a Yamaha PRS E463. I hate the name, it's too long. This little keyboard cost $300. That's only 4% of the cost of that Tyros. So there are millions and millions of people around the earth that could afford a $300 keyboard that could never afford a $6,000 keyboard. And that's one of the reasons I'm making this. I've kind of run the limit on the people that are interested in that, and I want to move to a keyboard where there's probably a lot more people around the world that will buy this. Now, I've looked at those 125,000 people that watch my videos, and what impresses me is 1/3 of the people that watch my videos are not Americans. They do not live in the United States, and English is not their native language. So if at times it seems like I'm going a little bit slow, or I go back and repeat things, it's for the benefits of those tens of thousands of people watching this that English is not their native language. So you Americans and Brits, bear with me, please. This little keyboard has 234 different styles in it. And a style is a rhythm. Here, let me play just a couple of styles just to be sure we're all talking on the same page. So let me turn this on, and I'm going to play a little style here. So there's my style. I gotta change it a little bit. Let me stop and let's change it to something else. How about a mamba? All right, and with the dial of a thing, let's change it to here's a bossa nova. Let's change it to, here's a little country pop. Okay, styles. Like a little mini band that will follow along in whatever key I play and accompany me. It comes with 234 styles that are built into this. But what I'm going to show you is how can I expand that? How can I add more styles? And the catch is I don't want to spend any money. So in this video, I'm going to first of all, let me give you a preview of where we're going. Right now, I'm kind of introducing everything, and then I'm going to go over to my Macintosh, and I'm going to show you 2 places you can go on the internet to download styles that will play in this little keyboard. And then I'm going to take you through a slideshow where I show you step by step everything you need to know to load the styles into this keyboard. And then finally, I'll come back live with my camera, and I'll actually put a thumb drive into the back of this, and I'll load the styles. Okay? That's what I plan to do. Now, I'm going to be using a Macintosh. I could do everything I'm about to do with my iPhone or my iPad. I'm simply choosing the Macintosh because I'm a 30-year veteran employee of Apple, and I love my Mac. But everything I'm doing, I could do with an iPhone or an iPad. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on the internet, find some styles that will play in this keyboard, put them on a thumb drive, and then plug that thumb drive into the back of my keyboard, pull the styles off of this thumb drive, and insert them into the keyboard. Now, this is a little tiny 1 gigabyte thumb drive. It's already so old you can't even buy it. For $5, you can buy one of these that holds 16 gigabytes. And this little 1 gigabyte, this tiny little thing would hold somewhere between 35 and 40,000 styles. So for $5, trust me, you can store all the styles you could possibly ever want to use. So go on the internet, find the files, put them on this thumb drive, plug it into the back, and the complicated part, the techie, geeky part is, how do I load the files in? Now here's the deal with this keyboard. With my Tyros, I could put 10,000 files on a thumb drive, and I can instantly load them into my Tyros and play away. That's not the way this little keyboard works. Here's the deal. I can load the styles off of the thumb drive and put them into the memory of my keyboard, but I can only load 10 files, 10 new styles. That's all I can load in. Now, I can come back an hour later or the next day and I can load in new ones over the old ones. And I can do that as long as I want. And so if I load in 10 styles today and I turn off my keyboard and I come back tomorrow morning, they're still there. Trust me, just because I turned off the keyboard, they stay in the memory. And then I could plug in my thumb drive and I could go find 10 more. And I could just do that and work my way through 2,000 or 3,000 new files. But the catch is, I can only have 10 of them at any one time. So these are 10 in addition to the 234 styles that are built in. Hope that makes sense. So now what I want to do is I want to go over to the Macintosh and I'll record my screen and I'll show you two places to go that you can download styles that will work in this little keyboard. Now, the gotcha is there are millions of styles out there. All of them will not play in this small keyboard, okay? But I'm going to show you two places to go that I've checked it out, and the styles that I'll take you to do work in this small, inexpensive Yamaha PSR E463 keyboard, okay? Join me at the Macintosh now. Here we are at my Macintosh. The first thing I'm going to show you are two locations that I have discovered that I can download styles that work in my E463 keyboard. I'll show you the names of them first, and I'll put these in my comments so you can go directly to them. Here's one place I'm going to take you, John Vernon's collection, and here is the URL. It's rather complicated. We'll go there first. Here's the second place I've discovered. I don't know who this guy is. I think he must be Russian because he states in his email you can write him in English or Russian. Kind of a funny name, Worm PSR. Anyway, we're going to go to this website as well, okay? So let's go to John Vernon's. Ready? Here we go. Click, click. Okay. For those of you that have seen any of my other 16 tutorials, this website is very familiar. This is the PSR tutorial website. I've gone into one guy's name, John Vernon, because I have discovered some styles that work in my keyboard. So I'm going to scroll down. Now here's the deal. They are in 3 different tables, Table 1, Table 2, and Table 3. The only ones I have found that work are those up here in Table 1. So don't waste any time trying to download and use the styles in Tables 2 and 3. I've tried, I can't get them to work. I have successfully downloaded a dozen or 2 styles out of Table 1 and they work. So the first question is, so how do I download these styles into my computer? If you have a Macintosh, it's really easy. Watch. Here is step 1. Click on the file. Ready? Click. And let's do this one. Click. And let's do this one. Click. That's step 1. There is no step 2. I'm done. That's one of the glories of having a Macintosh. Life is just so easy. So where did they go? All right, let's close up this page. We don't need it anymore. Click. They went in my download folder over here. And let me open it up. And here are the files that I have downloaded. Now they've come down in folders. Let me just open up one so you can see what they look like inside. I'm going to open up Ballad. Ready? Click, click. And here they all are. This is kind of confusing. I'm going to ask to look at this list as an alphabetical list. Ready? Click. This makes more sense. So here are all of the styles that were in that folder that I downloaded. And you can see over here, these things are tiny. 5K, 20K, 11K, 25K. Tiny, tiny little files. You can hold tens of thousands of these styles on one little thumb drive. In fact, the number is about 40,000 on a 1 gigabyte drive, okay? So that's all there is to it. I'll explain a little more when I get to the second page. I'm going to close up this folder now. Now let me take you to the other website, this guy called Worm. And I think he must be a Russian because he says you can email me in English or Russian down here. And I'll zoom in a little bit so you can read this. Here they are. He has over 1,100 styles altogether, and they're organized by ballads, dance, jazz, rock and roll, reggae. Let me click on Ballads, and once again I just click and you'll see a little animation. Click, boop, and it just downloaded into my downloads files. I'll do waltz, click, and I'll do world, click. Okay, you know where I'm going now. We're done with this page. Let me go back to normal size. Let me close this page up. I no longer need it. Let's go into that download folder and I'll open it up. So, mission accomplished. I have downloaded these folders, and inside these folders, let me show it as a list once again. These are the style files, and you can see they all end in .sty, telling me that this is a style file. Now, to get them into my keyboard, I need to get them into that thumb drive. Here I have plugged into my Macintosh that little 1 gig thumb drive, and I'm going to open it up. I have already loaded in 4 styles, but I want you to watch how I do that. So let me back up here. So I'm in the download folder. Here's a folder called Ballad. I double click to open it. Click, click. I'm going to turn it over turn it into a list so it's easier to read. And now, just for fun, let me go find one of these styles. Saw one here earlier. Here it is, guitar. So this is how I load the style from the download folder into the thumb drive. I pick it up with my mouse, I drag it over onto the thumb drive, and I see that plus sign indicating it's ready to add that to the thumb drive, and I let go. And there it is. It's that simple. And let me do another one. Here's something, click, drag, drop. Now, what I'm about to say is very, very important. You cannot have any folders on your thumb drive. I'll say that again. These files must not be inside a folder. Your keyboard can't read inside folders. So the technical word is these files are all sitting at the root level. And what that means is, let me close this up. What that means is when I open up the thumb drive, click, click, I need to be staring right at the files themselves. No folders. It won't work. They have to be out here on what we call the root level. Now, I don't want the guitar things for the rest of my video, so I'm going to get rid of that one. And I don't want this one, so I'm going to delete that. I'm just going to leave these 4 files on my thumb drive. Okay? So I hope that makes sense. You go to these websites, you click on them, they download into your download folder. You open up those folders and you drag the individual files into your thumb drive and let them sit there. I keep saying this over and over. If you put a folder in here, your keyboard will not see it. It cannot read folders. It can't look inside folders. I know that's not the way most of our computers and our iPads and iPhones, they all look inside folders. Not this keyboard. Your styles have to be out on the root level, meaning when you open up the thumb drive, you need to be staring right at the style files. I'm making a big deal about that, but it's terribly important that you do that. Okay. So let me take you through the process now that I'm going to show you live in just a few minutes. I put together a little slideshow here. So this is adding freestyles to a Yamaha PSR E463 keyboard by Maury Reese. Okay, here we go. This is what the keyboard looks like. And here's the basics. It's a PSR E463, that's its name. It was introduced in 2018, so it's been around about 3 years. It cost $299. That's the usual retail price on most of the online stores or music stores in America. It has 758 voices. That's what they call an instrument. You and I would say different instruments. They call them voices. It has 235 different styles. And in the beginning of the video, you showed me playing the styles, so we know what those are, little accompaniments. It also has a USB connector on the back. Obviously, I need that. And it has MIDI in and out, so I can plug this right into my Macintosh or my Windows, or I could plug it into my iPhone or my iPad, and I could use GarageBand on my iPhone or iPad or my Macintosh if I wanted to send MIDI music into those devices. We're not going to talk about any of that today. Everything I'm going to talk about this in this video, the rest of it, is in this section over here. This is where I'm going to go to load in the styles from that thumb drive, okay? And this is what it looks like close up. Let me point out the buttons I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using the function button, and I'm going to be using the execute button right here. And I'll be using this category button right here, and notice the two little greater than arrows. So, and this is my dial wheel. So the function button here, the execute button here, and this category button, that's how I'm going to navigate into the thumb drive and get the style and load it into my keyboard. And this we call the dial wheel. You put your finger right here and you can rotate this thing around, and you can scroll up and down through list. And I'll be doing a little bit of that. Okay? So I've downloaded my styles. I have 4 styles on this little thumb drive. And you're now looking at the back of my keyboard, and I simply stick the thumb drive into the slot. There's only one place it can go, so you can't accidentally put it in the wrong spot, and it says to device USB, okay? So the thumb drive is plugged into my keyboard. And my styles are sitting out here on this thumb drive. The challenge is get them from the thumb drive loaded into the memory of the keyboard, and that's what I'm going to step you through right now. So the thumb drive's plugged in. The first thing I do is I press the function button. Now you need to hold it down for a couple of seconds. If you just tap this thing, it does something else. If you press and hold it for a couple of seconds, that's what we need to do. So don't just tap it. That'll take you to the wrong place. Press it and hold it for a count of 1001, 1002, let's say. Hold it down just a moment. All right. When you do, this is what your screen is going to look like. So after you press the function button, you're going to see these words, save SMPL. Okay? Notice over here, it says, you know what? You are looking inside your USB thumb drive. So when we hit the function button, that said, go look inside that thumb drive, because that's where the things are that we're going to work with. That's where my styles are located. Now, I need to change this. So this is how I do that. I'm going to reach out and I'm going to press this category button, the one to the right. And every time I touch it, I'm going to move down through a list of options. So I'm going to press the category button 9 times because I need to get down to this message, load styles. So let me point out where I'm going. When I first pressed the function, it came up to this message, save SMPL. I'm going to hit the category button, the right one, 9 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. When I hit it 9 times, I will be looking at this message, load styles. And obviously, this is where I need to be. I'm telling the keyboard, I want to load a style off of the USB thumb drive and put it into the memory of the keyboard. Okay? It's a little technical, a little geeky here. Just bear with me. All right. Then I can use the dial wheel. Now what we're doing is we are looking inside the thumb drive, and what you're going to see is I will see those 4 styles that I loaded off of the internet. And I can use the dial wheel to scroll up and down as I look at the, in my case, I've only got 4. You could have 20, 50, 100. This is how I dial through the styles to pick the one that I want to load. I use the dial wheel, and the names of the files will flash by as I rotate the wheel right here. So once I have my file, let's say this is the one I want, Sebastus. Let's say I want to load that style. Then what I do is I press the execute button, and I showed you where that is. And this message comes up. It says, okay, do you want to load this thing into your memory? And where do you want it to go? By default, it goes into memory slot 236. And remember, I made a big deal of there are only 10 memory slots that I can use. From 236 to 245, that's the only places I can store these styles that I'm pulling off of the thumb drive. So let's say, yeah, I want to load it into memory slot 236. What I'm going to do is I'm going to press the execute button again. And now my screen should say this, okay, load okay. And sure enough, I'm going to press the execute button again. I pressed it 3 times to get it to load. After I pressed it 3 times, it will load it in. Now what I want to do is I want to look at it. So now I'm going to press the style button on my keyboard. Okay? And when I do, this is what my screen will look like. It's now looking in memory slot 236, and it sees the Sebastus style, and now I'm ready to play it. And I'm going to do this live in just a moment. So these are the steps. This is how I tell the keyboard how to look inside the thumb drive, and then how to find the particular style I want and how to load it into one of the 10 memory locations. And I can only do this 10 times. Only memory locations 236 to 245 are available for me to load my own styles into. The other 235 locations are the built-in styles that come with my keyboard, and I can't touch those. I can only add my own 10 new ones. And this number right here tells me which of the 10 slots in memory I'm looking at, as well as it will always show the name. So, John Vernon, that's one of the places you can go to get them. This www.worm PSR, don't know who the guy is, think he's Russian, but he's got a couple thousand styles that will run in our little keyboard. This is what my thumb drive looks like, and these are the 4 styles that I have loaded into this thumb drive for the rest of this demonstration. America on 1, Bilento, Miller, and Sebastus. Okay? So, and notice they're not in a folder. We are looking inside the thumb drive, and this is what we see. Now, I'm going to load 3 styles, 3 of the 4 styles on my thumb drive. And this is what I am going to do. I'm going to load them into the memory of my keyboard. By the way, once they're loaded in, they stay there permanently until I overwrite them with something new. So I may load them in today, turn off my keyboard, come back tomorrow, turn on my keyboard. They're still there. They don't go away. They are permanently in one of those 10 memory slots in the keyboard until I put something else in that spot. So you're not going to lose them every time you turn off your keyboard. Don't worry about that. So into memory slot 236, I'm going to load the style called B-Bento. Into memory slot 237, I'm going to load a style called American 01. And finally, into memory slot 238, I'll load a style called Miller. So these three styles are now sitting out there on my thumb drive. And in just a few minutes, I'm going to go back to my keyboard and I'm going to load them in. Unfortunately, you won't be able to see my screen. That's why I've taken you through this slideshow, to show you step by step what I'm actually going to be doing in a few minutes. But I found it very important that you see what those screens look like. All right, that completes the Mac portion of it. Let's go back to my keyboard. I'll turn on the camera and I will actually load those three styles off of the USB thumb drive and place them in those three memory locations in my keyboard, and then I'll play them for you so you can hear what they sound like. Okay? Let's go back to the PSR keyboard. Okay, here we are back at the Yamaha keyboard. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to load three of those styles from the thumb drive, which is sticking in my keyboard right here. Load them from the thumb drive into three memory locations of the keyboard. And then once I've got them in, I'll play them for you so you can hear what they sound like. Now, unfortunately, I don't have another cameraman with me. So I'm going to reach out and I'm going to grab that camera and hold it by my hand because I want you to see my screen and I want you to see which buttons I'm actually pressing. Now, in that slideshow, I took you through all of those steps. So you have them written down, but now you're actually going to see me do them live. And I apologize for the jumpy camera, but since I'm holding it by hand, it's the best I can do. But I do want you to see the screen and to see as I press which key and what the screen does, okay? So I'm going to reach out and I'm going to grab that camera. Okay, I've got the camera in my hand. You don't really need to look at me anymore. The action is down here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to load B Bento into memory slot 236. Okay? So I'm going to reach over here and I'm going to press this function button and I'm going to hold it for a second. Ready? There. There's the first message, remember on the slideshow? Now what I need to do is I need to scroll down to the load styles. And I do that by pressing this category button, the right one. So I'm going to press it 9 times. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It said load style. Yes, that's what I want. Now I'm going to press the execute button. And when I do, click, it is now looking inside the thumb drive. And if I use my wheel, I can scroll through the 4 files that I have there, okay? So I've said I want B Bento. All right, I've got B Bento on the screen, and once again, I'm going to hit the execute button and watch what happens. And it says, do you want to load this into 236? And as a matter of fact, yes, that's where I want it to go. So once again, I'm going to hit the execute button right here. Ready? Click. Says load OK. I'm going to hit execute again. Click. And it says I'm loading. And we'll wait. Now, how long does it take? Oh, just a few seconds. It depends on how big or how large or how sophisticated that style is. And sure enough, it said complete, and it wants to know if I want to load another style. And I'm going to hit the execute button. And now I'm going to get America 01 and I'm going to load that into 237. So with my dial wheel, I'm going to dial over to America 01. There it is. You know what I'm going to press? I'm going to press the execute button. Here we go. Click. It says, do you want to load to 236? No. I'm going to take the wheel and I'm going to change that to 237. And now, you know what I'm going to press. The execute button. Ready? Click. Again, click. And it's loading. So I'm now loading the second file, which is called America 01. And I'm loading that into memory slot 237. And it says complete. And it says, do you want to load another one? Yes, I do. I'm hitting the execute button. And it says, what do you want? Let's see. I want Miller. Okay. So I'm going to use my wheel. And there it is, Miller. You know what I'm going to do. I'm hitting the execute button. And it says, where do you want to load it into? And I'm going to take the wheel and dial it up to 238. Execute. Click. Execute. Click. And it's loading. So I'm just about done. So one song went into slot 236. The second slot was 237 memory slot. And in the memory slot 238, I'm loading some style called Miller. And it's complete. So now I'm going to reach down here and I'm going to hit the style button. And watch what happens. Ready? Click. We are no longer talking to the thumb drive. We're done. We're now back talking to the keyboard. And it wants to know which one of these styles do you want. And with my memory wheel, I can sit here and I can just start dialing through here. Let's see. I want 236. I want to load Bento. So I'm at 160. I'm taking my wheel. I'm at 220, 3, 34, 35, 36. Bento. Aha. Okay. So now I'm going to press some keys over here. This isn't part of it. And I'll start playing it. Okay, that is Bento. So now I'm going to take my wheel and I'm going to go up 1 to 237. And this is the style American 01. And it sounds like this. Let's go to the final one, 238. I'm going to use my wheel, and I'm dialing up to Miller, 238. And I press a couple of magic keys, and here is Miller. That's it. So I've got 3 songs. I've got Bento in 236. I've got American 01 style in 237. And I have something called Miller in 238. So that's how you go onto the internet, load a style into a thumb drive, right here. call up the function button, dial up the style you want, and load it into one of the memories. And you only have 10. From 236 to 245, that's the only 10 places you can put these styles. I hope this has been helpful. If it has, leave me a comment and I'll make more of these. Be well.